Hi, Scorpio. I was talking for like 10 minutes and realized I did not hit the start button on my record. So, happy birthday, Mercury Retrograde in full effect already. Oh, goodness. It's going to be a humdinger, I bet. So, I already pulled out cards. So, I'll go ahead and just get started. First of all, happy birthday. Second of all, if you ordered a love spell box, or just a spell box, thank you guys so much for everything. Those will be shipping out in the next couple of weeks. I have my little instruction booklet in like a improper editing phase right now, and then it will be off to a printer, and as soon as I get those back from the printer, then I'll be shipping everything out. So stay tuned. Okay. Let's go ahead and take a look at the King of Swords, which was the first card that came out, indicating the energy that Scorpio will be taking on this month. Now, this is not a foreign energy for Scorpio. I think you really thrive in King of Swords energy. This is like one part of you, right? This is the mental aspect. We know that Scorpio has really sharp mind and really sharp hearts, but they often do, operate kind of in their own compartmentalized way. This is a mental driven month for you. Mercury retrograde, of course. It's going to be a time where it's a good idea to walk softly, right? King of Swords is powerful, but he's a very quiet energy, and he often only acts in ways of being of service, right? He is a King of Swords. He is connected with the Aquarian archetype, and the other card we got out was, in fact, the Tower, okay? So the Aquarian archetype connected with the Tower energy tells me that your life is going to go about some kind of mini revolution, okay? So major changes happening in your life, both internally and externally as well. I see my Scorpios going through pretty major transitions career-wise, and especially romantically, where a lot of those patterns are just simply getting really boring. Really, it's becoming boring. Any kind of negative attachments that you have, any kind of negative relationship with money that you have, any kind of beliefs that have not been serving you, it's just getting really daunting for a lot of my Scorpios. And they are, in a way, like sick of themselves in that way, and empowering themselves to break those structures fully, to use this sword energy to completely sever these attachments. And people are going to really start feeling the effects of the scorpionic severance, right? Where like, wow, my Scorpio just severed me. Wow, they just said that. And it's going to be, it's going to move mountains. Like, let's be honest, it is. It's going to move mountains. You are going to be moving mountains in your life starting now and making your way into 2020. But it's for the greater good for yourself, the greater good for your family, for your partners, for your companies. And the more and more whole you become, the more and more self-loving you are, the more beneficial to the world you are. And I see the King of Swords, like I said, he walks softly, and you'll see why I say that in just a second. He walks softly, but powerfully. He walks in wisdom and acts only when he needs to act. I often see the King of Swords as being my super, super top level in an industry, right? Like the best neurosurgeon or the best attorney in the whole country, like the best of the best of the best. That's my King of Swords energy, okay? That's how I perceive him to be. The best technician, let's say that. And when you or anybody takes on this quality of the King of Swords, it is them stepping into their most prime self. And it's probably at that point where you're like, I can't do it half-assed anymore. I just simply can't. I can't do it because I know what I'm capable of and I know what I want my life to be. So all of the stuff that's becoming really boring, it's just simply going to fall by the wayside, as we see with the Tower. Now, the two cards that came out before I realized that my stupid camera wasn't turned on, I got the High Priestess and the Hermit energy, okay? So this is what I'm saying, like walk softly. it's important for you to understand how hypersensitive people are. All right, high priestess energy. You are going to be hypersensitive to other people's hypersensitivity. As a water sign, you are generally more empathic than other signs, a very general stereotyping here. And so you are going to really feel what people are going through, which is why, as much as you probably want to be brutally honest and say the things you've always been wanting to say, and maybe some of you want to like really rip someone's head off with your words because they just annoy you so much, I highly recommend that you don't. It will backfire if you do. Okay, it will backfire. This is a time of honor, dignity, and grace. This is a time of compassion. And if you need to sever, you can sever, but it does not need to be in an uncompassionate way. All right, because I see you walking in wisdom with the hermit energy. And it may take you a lot of time to really come to grips with some of the decisions that you have to make, right? Are you going to have to leave home? Are you going to have to break up with this person? Or is it a divorce? Or do you have to give up your freedom and move forward with getting married and having a family? You know, that can be, sorry guys, not trying to flash you here. So my button came undone. But you know, your whole thing is like, you're trying to like do it in a way where everyone comes out unscathed. You know what I mean? The hermit is wisdom. The hermit is wisdom, and a big, big part of wisdom is compassion. You know what I mean? Let's get this buttoned up here. Sorry. Seriously, not trying to flash you guys. Okay, you're Scorpio. You can handle it. Okay. Let's see what else comes through here. For Scorpio. See, this card is often, a Six of Cups is often a card that signifies the connection with the past in its most generic sense, right? Connection with the past. Connection with a person from the past, a connection with your roots, really where you came from. There could be an essence of a person, you know, who has kind of like been around you for a long time. And there's also an element of fantasy that comes out with this card. And when I see it coming out reversed, to me, I often say, you know what? First of all, there's a component of being in the reality, being very present in the moment, and not necessarily living in the realm of your dream space or, you know, any kind of delusion whatsoever, but being very, very present. And not operating in the realm of anything other than what's in front of you right now. You can strategize and you can come up with ideas and kind of set out a plan for yourself, but it's very realistic, very rooted in the earth, okay? I do see you breaking ties with your past, okay? I do see you deciding that there is a person or a situation or something that just simply can't withstand anymore. And I think it makes you sad, maybe a little disappointed. Maybe you feel, you know, because the hermit gives off a very melancholy vibe, and he's not necessarily, you know, the super most jolly person ever, you know, so there's certainly a very cool energy, right? We're finishing out the fall, we're making our way through autumn, the leaves are changing, death sort of comes over, right? Quote unquote, death sort of comes over. So we're feeling the essence of the things kind of falling to the ground. And that's why I'm wondering if you're feeling calm and peaceful with the whole thing, but also a little bit nostalgic of what could have been. So that's why it's important to stay present, because to stay on course now is so, it's going to be beneficial, and you'll experience a great deal of success in this path. Anytime thinking about people of old days and past lovers that didn't work out and opportunities that you missed, it's a complete waste of energy. You need your energy. You are going to need your energy. Okay, Emperor reversed. this could have been all the things I was just talking about, the missed love, the love that didn't work out. This is clearly kind of very, very different, okay? I don't know why my camera is not really adjusting the color, but here we... Okay, I just had to stop my camera for a second. Having some technical difficulties. You can just kind of see how different the colors are. Here you have two very different ways of looking at the world, of going about living in the world, two ideas of what it means to be powerful, ideas of what it means to be valuable, all these different things. And I think that you are stepping more into your own value system and living more and more on a day-to-day basis, more in your own true values. And I don't know how much you really care about, not to say you don't care about this person. I think this is, someone that has been in your life for a long time, or that you were hoping would be in your life. Could also be a business that you were trying to build that maybe didn't quite work out, or it could be some situation, not necessarily a person, that just seems to be getting farther and farther away. And this is probably a month where you finally just kind of open your hands and let it fall away. I think there's so many major arcana coming out. There is nothing you can really do except kind of let life and let death of the Scorpionic season kind of just wash over you. When I say death, hopefully not like a literal passing, but a passing of the season, and just let it take you into a new birth. And it can be hard to do that, especially if you really, really cared about this emperor, right? If this emperor person or thing was something that had your heart, that can be a real tough kind of deal, okay? So this is not something a Scorpio wants to let go. This isn't something a Scorpio, enjoys watching walk away or walking away from. Scorpio, I think you are walking away from something emotionally and energetically, and it does feel a little bit dramatic, but kind of like in the movies, kind of like Casablanca, right? Like, here's looking at you, kid, and just kind of letting the love of your life get on a plane and go be with someone else, that kind of deal. Because I don't know that the meshing of the Emperor and the King of Swords is really possible right now. And I think with the High Priestess energy, you know that, and you have known that. All right, so you're creating space for the new thing, for the new love, the new business, the new money, the new home, the new family, the new children. Like, you're creating space. It's time. It's time for things to start working out real good, right? And I think that's what you feel. You feel. Scorpios might kind of slink away real quietly. That's what I think. It's going to be a very quiet exit on Scorpio's part. Quiet and yet very heard. Like, it's not going to go unnoticed. And it's going to be rough on the people and the things that you're kind of dealing with. And I think there's disappointment on both sides that maybe you couldn't reach some kind of an agreement. I see you being very tight-lipped. That's why the compassion is really important. If you were to get a little bit testy with this emperor and you were to kind of, say some things to them or, do some things to kind of sabotage their path, it really, really would not bode well for you, Scorpio. It really, really wouldn't. And I know not all Scorpios are revengeful. Like, my Scorpio moon is like farthest from, like, never ever exacted revenge on anybody. That is so not a thing that I do. But there could also be that, like, man, like, I wish that I could feel vindicated, or I wish that I could feel like, I got something from this. But there's also the knowing that, like, no, let's work with the good karma and not really go down that negative path. So Page of Cups tells me that there is going to be a miscommunication of some kind. It's going to be a very big gap between you and the thing, or you and the person. And bridging that gap this month is going to be a bit of a challenge. So There could be multiple storylines coming online here too for you, where like some of you might be wanting to relocate and you might be like leaving town without telling somebody. You know, maybe it's kind of two storylines, two different things happening at the same time. The Tower can affect so many different areas of our lives at once, so it doesn't have to just be one thing and one person. It's very sly, Scorpio. What's happening? Very sly, very slinky, but you got to do what you got to do, I think. That's what I'm feeling. That's what I'm hearing in my mind's eye is you got to do what you got to do. Another major arcana. This is a card of Taurus. Let's just go through the kind of archetypes that we have. Emperor is like an Aries or Capricorn, Cancer. Could be another Scorpio you're dealing with. This is a card of Taurus. We have a Virgo, and I also see this as very Scorpionic as well, but also Cancerian and Piscean, so very watery too. So, you know, you could be dealing with one of those signs. This is you really standing firm in your beliefs. This is a lot about values, and I think that's, you know, there's a difference. There's what you value and there's what this person values, and right now, in between the two of you, there's a Page of Cups reversed. This is what I'm saying. There are just some bridges that cannot be built at certain times, and I don't think a bridge can be built at this time. People are unbending, people are going to be a bit stubborn, and people are going to just simply do what they feel is right for them, and you cannot fault them for that. So the Hierophant, I always say, is like my guru, like the inner guru. It's the Buddha within us. It is the all-knowing, all-seeing entity. It is the witness, and this is, you know, the higher self working together with the lower self and trying to combine, you know, to merge forces to work together for our greatest good. And sometimes you really do have to do what you have to do. So you guys, we have the High Priest and the High Priestess, masculine and feminine. I mean, this is operating on all fields, okay? So this is all vibrations from the very underworld to the super high level world. And like when you know, you know, and that's been a theme since April. I remember doing that reading in Barbados. Like when you know, you know, and you've known for a while, and now it's time for you to like really, really act on that knowing and sever once and for all. You may go through a bit of a dry spell, right? You may be putting yourself in a position where you have this field around you where people are going to kind of pick up, like maybe don't mess with Scorpio this month. Like maybe don't mess with them, maybe don't talk to them, don't try to apologize, don't try to sweet talk them. Because I think your edginess with the King of Swords, like it's temperamental. As much as I would love to say, okay, Scorpio, be compassionate, be kind, be mindful, the tendency to be sharp and bitter and cutting with your tongue, it's not, I mean, that's not going away, right? King of Swords, it's very sharp, okay? So people are going to sense that you have some prickliness. And it's not to say you're going to be like bitchy to everybody, right? Of course not. It's not that you're going to have an attitude with everybody, and you're still going to go out and have fun with your friends and all that. Like a lot of it's going to be normal, but when that certain someone or that certain something gets a little too close, you know, they'll like, whoa, never mind, Scorpio, I'll just like let's wait until this simmers down. Let's wait until this calms down, and let's, you know, kind of do this again later, you know, maybe after the Capricorn stuff that's going to be happening. I think people want to kind of talk to you, but they don't want to bend. They don't want to negotiate. They don't want to meet you in the middle, but they just kind of, I think there is someone in your life or something that just wants everything to be the same, and you really are the catalyst for this change. They're going based on how you are pacing it. You're in the power seat here, Scorpio, whether you like it or not. I think you like it though, but you know, you're in the power seat here. People are paying attention to you, and they're paying attention to how you are reacting to what they're giving you. Sorry, I'm not ready for those cards yet. Let's see what else comes out. with the remaining 2 cards for the 9-card block. Now, I was thinking about this card in the car the other day. It's amazing how certain things in real life actually make you think of a card, you know? And I was thinking of this in 2 ways. There's the protective aspect, which we often talk about with this guy, with his, you know, money over his chest, kind of keeping his hands, you know, over his heart and all of that, and maybe being a little bit possessive or greedy and all of that. But I also think there's something worth protecting, and I'm kind of seeing him, and this is what happened to me the other day. It was like, maybe he's not protecting anything, and maybe what he's doing is showing you his heart of gold, right? And I think your heart, Scorpio, is very often misunderstood, and we all know that when a Scorpio loves someone, it can be some of the purest, most magnanimous, biggest kind of love that a lot of people just simply can't handle. Because I think Scorpio, when they truly love, there's no problem with vulnerability. There's no problem with authenticity. There's no problem with tears and fears and talking and this and this and this, you know. And I think your heart of gold is twofold, right? It is both on display and available, and it is also within your care, right? You're very much keeping track of it. But I don't see Scorpio hiding. And as much as I'm kind of contradicting myself, and I said you might kind of slink away, I don't think you're slinking away in a fearful or a cowardly way. It's just moving on with your own life and just taking responsibility for yourself and answering to no one. I think this Emperor and maybe even this Knight of Cups, if these are two different people, they might be kind of expecting some kind of an explanation from you, but yet at the same time, I don't think you owe them an explanation, you know, like you're not responsible to them, and what you do doesn't really matter, especially since there seems to be some pretty major disagreements, or there seems to be some pretty major clash. So Scorpio, as you just kind of move away, it's because you want someone to recognize your heart of gold that you are so obviously displaying here, right? Like, here's my heart. This is what I'm made of. I stand on gold. I wear gold on my head, right? Like my crown, like I am made of gold. And it's not that I just have gold around me. It's who I am. And I think that the Emperor doesn't see it. The Knight of Cups doesn't see it. And I think what you really want is for someone to really see it. You want them to see your value, your talents, your skills, the way everybody does, right? We all want that, but I think you're ready to actually have it in your life. So anything that falls short of that is going to be unacceptable. And I know that Scorpio keeps a tight-knit community and a very small circle of friends as it is, but that circle of friends might be getting smaller because people are being filtered out. And the only thing that could potentially hold you back is you, Scorpio. The only thing that could potentially hold you back is your fear of the unfamiliar, which shouldn't be a Scorpio thing at all. I know you're a fixed sign and everything, but this is your vibe, right? The rebuilding, the reinvention, the power of destruction, like that's your whole thing. So there's no reason to be afraid. You do deserve to see, to have someone and to have a company and a lover that really sees you for, what you really are. If you're dealing with a toxic Scorpio, the roles could be reversed where the Emperor is your Scorpio, and then this would apply to you. You deserve to have a lover and a partner and a business and a company that like looks at you and sees what you are, So let's go ahead and move on with the reading. If you want to see what cards are going to come out during the comprehensive reading, you're free to continue watching so you can see what we'll be talking about. The link for the comprehensive will be in the description box down below. If you feel like joining, I'll be happy to have you. If not, then I wish you nothing but the best this season. Thank you guys so much for everything. All right, take care. Okay, Scorpio, let's go ahead and clarify this King of Swords first. For those of you who may want to know, this inner block of cards is a really beautiful deck called the Radiant Wise Spirit Tarot. Feel free to check it out. I recently discovered it and fell in love, and I think I found my perfect tarot deck for me, my personality. What goes good for me. Let's pull a couple oracle cards for this King of Swords, okay? We're going to pull an astrology card here. Oh, and we get the moon. Okay, beautiful, which goes very well with the high priestess energy. It's highly intuitive, highly emotional, and yet also the power of the mind. This is how Scorpio operates, right? The mind is always very, very sharp, and the intuition is always just as sharp. So you meet in the middle with just overall sharpness, right? And an overall kind of really discerning energy. Nothing can really get by a Scorpio if they're paying attention. You know, we all know Scorpios who are kind of in la-di-da land, but for the most part, Scorpios really, really pay attention to who and what people are. And your intuition is nothing short of divine, of course. You know, high priest, high priestess, both coming out with the hermit. There's extraordinary wisdom coming through, and it's really important for you to act in your wisdom, okay? Now, if we hit the moon card, I'm going to pull a moonology card now. So let's see what comes through here. You're very close to achieving your goal, okay? Beautiful. And you are, you know, it just is requiring some action on your part. You're having to leave something behind. You're needing to allow something to deconstruct. You're needing to, you know, really admit to yourself once and for all that maybe something, a company, a business, a person, just simply is not in your future, you know, and I think your future is a very blank slate the minute you start taking the effort to really cut those ties, okay? Now, I'm not saying all of you are going to get divorced, and I'm not saying all of you are going to be going bankrupt or anything negative like that. It's just a matter of, like, you know, recognizing what that emperor truly represents in your life. And it's possible because of the Saturn-Pluto conjunction, right? There's a lot of like mother and father issues coming out, right? With the Cancer, Capricorn nodes, right? In eclipse season. A lot of, you know, like getting rid of mommy and daddy issues and all those things too. So the emperor could absolutely represent, you know, some issues that you have with your father figure and things that have been holding you back in that regard. Oh, beautiful. Card of prosperity. So again, these will be the cards that we'll cover in the comprehensive, so I won't talk too much about them here. Okay. Ooh, Seven of Wands. I kind of like the Seven of Wands right now. I know sometimes that can be a tough card, but I think that's exactly what you need. See, the thing with the Tower is that you have to recognize the inevitability of this. The Tower only happens when we continue in one direction in spite of what our higher self is trying to get us what to do, or trying to get us to do. Sorry, that didn't make any sense. So when we act in spite of ourselves, the Tower has no choice but to occur at some point, okay? And the time is now, and it might not happen in November, okay? This might happen late November when we have Mercury going direct. I think like the day or the next day or the next 2 days, Mars is going to be entering into Scorpio. And then like a day or two after that, the sun enters into Sagittarius. Okay, so those kinds of energies, Mars coming home to Scorpio and Mercury going direct, sun entering into Sagittarius, there's a high likelihood that anything that has not been said will be said at that time. And that could be what the Tower moment is for a lot of us, okay? So be cognizant of that. Because the sun in Sagittarius, we all know that Sagittarius energy can be very blunt, honest, but blunt, okay? Yeah, Tower is definitely going to have to do with the Emperor. And sometimes the Sagittarius energy can get itself into a bit of a mess, and that can be a little bit hard. Grace, honor, dignity. You guys, grace, honor, dignity. Elegance. So important. You'll be so happy that you know, didn't succumb. Whoops. Wow, I see you guys going on a pretty amazing adventure. Some of you, I think, are really facing some... Wow, see, yeah, all you have to do is open the door to like a new kind of future, and that future is going to happen really fast. Really, really fast. Wow. Okay, High Priest, or the Hierophant, High Priestess, and the Chariot. We're operating underworld, local soul, and higher soul here. Oop, didn't mean to pull out so many cards, but that's fine. We'll take that many. And then we'll take the Tower card. Ooh, Devil reversed. Excellent. And then the King of Wands. Interesting. Okay, let's go ahead and cut it off here. So this is where we will begin. I'll probably start right here, but give me a few minutes to reset and recalibrate, and then we will get started with the comprehensive. All right. Thank you guys so much for everything. Wish you an excellent Scorpio season, and I will see you next month. Take care.